How long have I known Frank Gehry? I've known him since I was 8 years old. He was my babysitter.
Oh, he used to walk around with this long camel hair coat that was his father's.
The strongest memory that I have is seated at a little upright piano, and that Frank was looking over my shoulder and asking me questions about what was happening in the music in different places. I remember that quite vividly.
It was clear that Michael was headed on a meteoric path. You just didn't know where.
Doing a building like this, particularly with Frank, means that you're talking about something and then starting to make models, which are initially very rough, geometric shapes. And then they start to become more and more intricate.
I think we bounced ideas off each other, and what came out seemed to please him. You know, I let the client take the lead, usually. I get more fun out of that because then I'm working and, you know, I'm playing off them. Michael's intent is to attract all walks of life into a building because of its location in Miami.
This is basically the entrance right here. This whole canopy over the box office is much more developed. Those are just the structural pieces. So you'll be able to look through here and see all these architectural shapes behind the glass, and then you'll see those same shapes moving on this wall some of the time. I've been thinking for some time, how could the classical musical experience offer people, particularly maybe young people who would like to be more spontaneous in their experience of this, the opportunity to be so? And that idea has influenced much of what we're attempting to do in our new building.
This is MTT's private little domain on the roof garden. There's a central atrium light that brings natural light into all of this. The hall itself is in this box.
We began to get this idea of the exterior of the building being very minimalist, and the interior of the building being very elaborate.
So this is the entry. The park is out here. The projection will be on this wall.
We get this idea to include a large wall of the building, which would be a projection surface and would be a home for archival footage of the orchestra, of new work commissioned with video artists, and also to actually get our concerts out on this screen so that people could come into the park, they could sit and look at it, or they could just stroll by and experience a bit of it. But by experiencing a bit of it, that leads to, you know, maybe wanting to pursue a bit more.
From a audience standpoint, having it so big in the screen, it'll make it a very compelling place to go. People will want to go and hear that.
So here we are going through the entrance. Confirmed our ticket right there. Gotten our free house seats, who knows? And this is the lobby.
Michael wanted a casual drop-in place where people going down Lincoln Road could see something and get enticed into it and wander in and stand at the back of the room and listen to a piece of music and then walk out.
You can already see these emerging shapes. There's a dialogue between the straight line shapes and the curved shapes. They play off each other. The curves are sort of launched from the rectilinear shapes.
Inside there are rehearsal rooms, meeting rooms, and we made those very sculptural. So it's like a very sculptural landscape inside.
We wanted to create a proper home for the New World Symphony, a place where we could really expand and take so many of our programs, which were prototypes of great things, but have enough space to make them regular part of what we do.
starting to get a sense, when you look at the angles of these walls, you get so used to the idea that these spaces are all so asymmetrical. This is a very, very important room because this is identical to the size of the stage. So it means that we can rehearse the orchestra in here where something else to be going on the stage, and that's a gallery where people will be able to look in on the rehearsals. This is glass that people will be able to stand there and look in and actually see rehearsals going on. Very exciting.
That'll be the kind of invitation for the public who are just passing by. They may get intrigued and watch that, and they may wonder what it's like and come back. I try to create an intimacy between the audience and the orchestra. If the orchestra can hear each other, they play better. If they feel the audience, they play better, they sound better, and it adds up to better, 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 better. But if the room doesn't feel good or isn't intimate in feeling, they'll come away with a different impression of the music than if it is.
This is the main staircase that leads to the upper portions of the lobby. A lot of the audience will come in that way, from above, or else they'll come through here. And this basically is a sound lock, so that as people come in, you'll be able to make your way down to the quiet area inside of the hall. And this is the main hall. This is a space where all the hydraulics of the stage will go, so we can make the stage in a lot of different configurations. But we'll have tremendous flexibility of how the audience can be deployed within this area.
Michael wanted the ability to move the orchestra around in different positions in the room, and that he would have the ability to put musicians around the room in various places.
So this is the upper part of the lobby. We'll come up the stairs here on the bottom floor, and then as you look out here, this is the top of the chamber music room, and then the lobby below, and this whole view out there through the canopy of the box office and the whole rest of this atrium. It's going to be quite dramatic.
We wanted to make the atrium of the building kind of analogous to a stage. So if you were looking outside of the building, as if you were looking at the proscenium arch of a traditional theater, and you're looking into this atrium, and on the stage of the atrium are positioned these amazing sculptural shapes.
Since Michael teaches on internet, he will have the ability to use the ceilings as a projecting surface. We decided to make it so you can project on all the surfaces. And we have the whole thing wired and with projectors, and it's all done. It's all in the project.
The building is wired to allow these kinds of internet communications to happen from many, many of its rooms and spaces.
He will have the ability to have an orchestra, a youth orchestra in another country, projected on full on the screen, and they will be able to see him full on a TV screen wherever they are.
This is the library. This is another very important room. This is where the music will be housed, and this will be a place where musicians will be very regularly coming to because they get all their music here, and even more importantly, it'll be a space that brings them actually out onto the top of the building and into the sunshine. I was worried that they would get lost in their practice rooms, you know, never get out of there. And there's an extensive roof garden out here. Panoramic view of Miami Beach. These are planters, these are large trees.
It's not a fussy building, it's very matter of fact. So it is a teaching building in that sense. I'm sure it's going to deliver to Michael the flexibility to grow in it, to manipulate it, to play with it, to explore with it, and come up with new things for his orchestra.
The way we'll be able to present classical music, the sort of surrounds to it, the changes of atmosphere, the changes of perspective, the different ensembles, the enticing people from the outside of the building into the building, the projection of these images through cyberspace. This will all be a very pioneering thing to do, and I think we're proud of that.
Amazing.